was a great event. It was a great fight. A lot of people are not understanding 118, 110, just like myself. And people can argue it could have gone either way.
I thought that one of the judges had her card filled out before she came to the fight.
Adelaide
Bird.
This is the biggest fight for boxing. This is terrible. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
There's not one person sitting in this audience that, in whatever their profession is, haven't had a bad night. You know, Adelaide had a bad night.
Bueno, primero que nada quiero agradecerles a todos el apoyo que siempre brindaron para esta pelea y ya fuera del marcador o del empate, creo que esta pelea le dio al boxeo lo que necesitaba. Yo lo que sí tenía en mente que había ganado la pelea, mínimo 8 rounds de la pelea. Thank you. Love you too.
The good news is that there is going to be HBO 24/7. I hope they just do the 3 episodes, and also I would like them to air the old episode, well, the unaired episode of Face Off with Max Kellerman. Remember, they sat down with Max Kellerman and did a Face Off, but they said they weren't going to do it again. So even though it was for the first rematch, and it's a little bit, you know, irrelevant in a way, but I still want to see it. I mean, it's not irrelevant. It still will be entertaining. I'm sure a lot of fans still want to see it. I think they should release it. But I'm hyped. You know, I'm glad that the fight got made because, you know, I was getting a little scared with all the Danny Jacobs and Billy Joe Saunders talk, you know. And obviously, the big controversy of the whole fight was not the draw, but it was the 118-110 card. Now, I can see the fight going either way. Me, personally, I had a Golovkin. You know, I had a Golovkin or a draw. I could not see, in my personal opinion, which I'm entitled to in the United States of America, I did not see Canelo winning. However, I saw the draw, and I saw possibly Golovkin winning. But in whatever case, I was highly impressed with the head movement of Canelo and the way he moved around the ring. I didn't think he could move like that. His ass was on that bike because you don't want to be on the ropes against Golovkin, as he learned later on in the fight where Golovkin started taking over. Yeah, Golovkin looked a little baked. I don't know what was going on with him. He was on like some type of fucking mind control or some shit, right? But in the rematch, I said this, right? And I think this makes sense. Now, I'm not, you know, saying this is what's going to happen. I'm saying that we've learned that Golovkin, for the second half of the first fight, started walking through Canelo's punches. The first fight, I mean, the first half of the fight, you can tell he was like, all right, I'm going to give Canelo his respect. He was respecting the power, right? That was obvious. But then he just started walking through that shit. So imagine if he treats round 1. I'm trying to figure out if my if I hear my landscaper. I don't know. But anyway, imagine if he comes out round 1 of the second fight like he did round 9, 10, 11, and 12 of the first fight. I think that Golovkin has to be the favorite. Yeah, Canelo got the glitz and the glamour and everything. He showed that he can box, but I think he's the favorite. I think Kellerman's face-off is cheesy by the time. What the fuck is that noise? I'll be right back. It's about the motherfucking thunderstorm. But anyway, like I said, I feel that Canelo, you know, he does have the skills to beat Golovkin. And if he does, you know, that should shoot him right at the pound-for-pound rankings, right? However, I don't like the way Canelo plays politics, you know? And I understand he's the A side, and yes, he deserves that, but I don't like the way he plays politics, especially when it comes to the belt. Because now we know that he'll drop a belt. He'll just be like, you know, the belt don't define me and all that shit. Because when Charlo comes along, people are going to be like, for example, let's say Canelo wins, right? Let's say Golovkin wins. If Golovkin wins, I likely see him moving to 168 pounds. That's what I likely see. If Canelo wins, he'll stay at 150. Maybe he'll boil back down to 154. I mean, 160. Maybe he'll boil back down to 154. But people are going to be like, oh, will he fight Charlo? Nah, it'll likely be Billy Joe Saunders or Danny Jacobs before Charlo. Charlo's the mandatory, though. But guess what? Canelo will be like, you know what? That WBC belt, once again, don't rule me. What if, I mean, is he fighting for the WBC belt yet? Do we know that? Is Canelo's beef with the WBC settled? Remember, for the first fight, only the WBA and the IBF was on the line because Canelo wouldn't, you know, fight for the WBC. What about this fight? There's only 2 belts on the line unless you count that IBO title. Just saying it just, you know, gives me a little tingle. But in this case, it'll be the WBC. If Canelo decides to fight for the WBC, it'll be the WBC title and the WBA. Golovkin was stripped for the IBF, remember? It's impossible to KO someone who fights a fight not to be KO. No shit. I'm not getting involved in y'all little arguments. I thought that was a comment that nah, I'm not getting involved in that. Golovkin does lack head movement, though. That's an issue. They fear Texas Charlo. I look at it like this. They look at it from a business standpoint. It's like, well, we'll try to avoid him because there's no real money in him. That's how boxing is these days. They'll avoid each other because they'll say, well, there's no money in him. You know, we can make more money fighting somebody else. But Charlo is right there. Danny Jacobs is right there. But Charlo has that mandatory spot where Danny Jacobs, you know, they'll fight him because of like the marketing of it. Billy Joe Saunders because of his belt and the overseas presence. Yeah, he better be careful he don't walk. Well, I mean, Canelo at one point in time almost broke his neck with that straight right hand. So we've seen Golovkin take some mean ass shots. You know, in fact, he walked through the same shot that Khan got laid out for. Poor Khan. That thunder's crazy out there. Y'all hear it? Y'all can't hear it. Why do you think Canelo would be afraid of Charlo? Charlo, here we go. You're missing my point. See? I'm going to read this Jesus Rosales. Why do you think Canelo would be afraid of Charlo? Charlo's most notable fights has been against fighters Canelo already defeated, and he was younger. Those fighters are arguably not in their prime. That's not the point of what I'm saying. In boxing, you know, the term, what is it again? High risk, low reward. That's Charlo. They'd rather fight somebody else. It's not like these motherfuckers be like, oh, you know, he could probably beat you. But yes, Charlo can probably beat him. But the point I'm trying to make is it's not about that from a business standpoint. They're going to avoid him because they're going to be like, well, he probably can beat you. We don't want to take that chance for a little money fight. Let's try to fight somebody else and try to fight anybody else around you. Yeah, that was Khan. Yeah. But Golovkin, yeah. Khan to get knocked out by anybody. Khan to get fucking knocked out by anybody. You know? We're making a lot of changes around here, though. Actually, this is even not, this is my burner channel. This is my Kevin Durant burner channel. So Top Rank gave me a copyright for some video. I don't even know, you know, out of nowhere pretty much. So while we're handling that, I had to stream on here. Don't worry. I said earlier in the video that, you know, like my copyright Kung Fu is pretty amazing. You know, I'm like damn near fucking, what's higher than a black belt? What's close to, I'm like a brown belt. You know, so I'm not just some guy that just gets on here and just be doing shit willy-nilly. You know, like I take a lot of time to research to make sure, like, for example, putting all this shit together, I had to learn all this shit to be able to have all this, you know, technology for you guys, you know? I would say that Canelo doesn't duck anyone. Best example of fight. Well, yeah, yes, that is true. That is true. But that was a Canelo without Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar De La Hoya was in rehab. Even Richard Schaefer, Oscar was pissed at Richard Schaefer because Richard Schaefer allowed the fight to go through. If Oscar wasn't in rehab, that fight wouldn't have happened. Now, Oscar's right there. Oscar, like, you know, we can try to get this big money over here. And it's crazy because Oscar, when he was fighting, he fought everybody. Even though he lost all of his big fights, you know, like his later in his career, but he wasn't no bitch when it came to fighting the best. That's what makes it weird. You know? So it depends on how you look at it. I wonder if my window's open. It's coming down outside. But I'm hyped for, yeah. I'm hyped for the fight. Keith Thurman is a little soft in the belly. There's heavy rumors that he might be signing with Eddie Hearn. Heavy rumors. Don't know if it's true, but it's out there. There's a press conference supposed to be July the 17th in a couple of weeks about the event. I mean, about the Zone and Matchroom USA, and they're announcing some cards for the fall. It's going to be really interesting to see who Danny Jacobs is going to fight. Probably fuck around, fight a fucking Spike O'Sullivan or somebody. Hearn can't tell nobody until launch. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense because you want it to be like a big ass fucking deal. Nah, Thurman ain't retired. I mean, yeah, you might. I mean, you could say he is. This is a different time for Canelo now, though. Like, he's you know, like, he's got a whole marketing team behind him. You know? Yeah, and that's what makes it so sad about De La Hoya is because, you know, like, with his reputation as, I mean, okay, put it this way. We all know we all know where everything went completely wrong for De La Hoya. That shit with the drag, he never recovered from that. You know, that shit, like, he lost, like, fighters don't want to sign with him because of it. It's always like a joke. But overall in his career, you know, he fought like who he was supposed to fight. Like, even he took major sacrifices by moving up and being flabby at 160. He got a gift against Felix Sturm, went on to fight Bernard Hopkins, got punched in his stomach, rolled around on the canvas in pain, then had the nerve to go down to 147 to fight Pacquiao. So, you know, like, he fought. Like, he didn't do no ducking, and he was active. He didn't do no ducking. But now when it comes to Canelo, it's like, you know, he's the A side and this is, you know. That's why you know, I'm upset with Anthony Joshua because just like Lennox Lewis said, is that when he wanted to fight Mike Tyson, he didn't want to hear none of that shit about networks. He said, make the fucking fight happen. And that shit happened, right? When it comes to Anthony Joshua, he said he went wild, but then you tell Barry Hearn, Eddie Hearn's popping Eddie, and tell Edward, I'm not trying to hear it. You know, you my homie, you my promoter. I love you, all that shit, but I want Deontay Wilder. You know, let's just get that shit out the way. Not all that. All right, you know, because Eddie Hearn will probably come back to him like, yeah, I hear you, mate. You know, all right, I'm going to start talking to their team and all this and everything. Joshua got to be like, no, Eddie, make the fight. I'm not fighting Povetkin. Yeah, well, you know, it's that money. Like, put it this way. I knew that the fight wasn't going to happen once Barry Hearn, like, had to come out of fucking, you know, get on Twitter, get the Twitter fingers, you know, fucking talking about how the fight shouldn't happen until next year and why it means so much more and that he was going to get in Anthony Joshua's ear and talk to him about it. Your promoters are like, no, it's not happening right now. You know? So, I would have liked Joshua to speak up for himself. What really pissed me off is that since I know so much about like the WBA, the WBC, WBO, and IBF when it comes to the rules and their, you know, the way they handle things and their mannerisms and shit when it comes to what they do, it really brought my piss to a boil when they were talking about, well, you know, he's got to fight Povetkin or the WBA is going to strip him. The WBA ain't stripping shit. The WBA ain't stripping shit. The WBA, even though they're the oldest of the sanctioning bodies, 1963, WBC 1965, IBF 1988, and WBO 1989, I think. WBO 1989. Also, the IBO was like 89. I may have the WBO and the IBF mixed up, but they both was 88, 89. Long story short, the point is, the WBA ain't stripping their #1 cash cow. The WBA is shady as shit. Hey, I got to make some moderators in this chat. Here, Britt. Show this guy. Let me see. Hold up. Show that guy what a timeout is about. Let me find another moderator. We got to fight Povetkin because the WBA going to strip him. WBA ain't stripping nobody. They don't never strip nobody. What can be said? It's Golovkin, Canelo all over again. Got to build the fight. Yeah, but it's like this. It could. What if Wilder would have got knocked out by Louis? Matter of fact, let me show y'all. Let's go look at it. This is what I got this stuff for y'all for. This is why I got these dual screens and shit. Let's go look at it. What if Wilder would have got knocked out by Luis Ortiz, you know? What if he would have got his ass knocked out? You say I'm bitter? Hell yeah, I'm bitter. Is that a crime? I wanted to see the fight. Am I committing a crime or something? I wanted to see the fight. They could do a power move, though, and do Wilder versus Fury.
Wilder wary here in round one. A good counter left hand by Ortiz. Good start for the challenger in Brooklyn tonight. There's a counter right hand by Ortiz. Deontay Wilder, 15 seconds left in the fight. And there's the right hand. Ortiz is down for the second time in his career. Oh, straight left hand. Wilder gets clipped. Ortiz unloading on Deontay Wilder in the seventh. And Wilder. He's right cross. Clubbing left hand by Wilder. Down goes Ortiz. Kept taking away, but there it is. A minute left.
Yeah, him.
Right uppercut, and it's over.
And still, the undefeated WBC heavyweight champion of the world.
What if Wilder would have lost this fight? What if Wilder loses to Dominic Breazeale? I'm not saying he will. What if? Why they bullshitting around with all this money in this big-ass fight? For example, right? After, what's the next big fight? Tyson Fury? Yeah, get this Ronnie guy out of here. Get this Ronnie guy out of here. Put him on timeout. I'm sick of seeing his fucking comments. I'm sick of you. You make me sick. But the winner of Wilder versus or Joshua versus Wilder, the next big fight after that is going to be the winner of that versus Fury, right? Hold on, y'all got these fucking 200-word essays. Wilder wants a massive payday, T. Trust me, he don't want 15 mil. He wants 50 mil, so they're going to build that fight. Also, Tyson will never risk. And also, Tyson Fury is with Frank Warren. And Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn are not coming together anytime soon. He has a better chance of fighting Wilder. And yeah, you know, the fight's going to be a big fight. I'm not taking sides, but with the way things are looking and with it making sense for Hearn to promise Anthony Joshua to launch the zone, then it makes me think that, you know, Wilder would have had the fight on that new streaming platform. It's just so many things that I look at, and people say, "Oh, you taking sides? You're taking Shirley Finkel's side, and you don't know, you didn't see shit." But just looking at just the way things and been covering boxing so long and talking about negotiations of fights for years and years, it's been, you know, this November be fucking 8 years. You know, so when I see, you know, like the things that Eddie Hearn's been saying and doing, it just makes me think like, yo, they really did not want this fight this year. All that shit they was doing was smoke and fucking mirrors. The WBA is going to strip Joshua if he don't fight Povetkin. Get the hell out of my face. And it doesn't help that Povetkin's promoter is a billionaire, right? It doesn't help he's a billionaire. You know? And he has a good relationship with the WBA. Fury's actually smaller. He was 276 his last fight. When he fights in August on the Carl Frampton undercard, he should be about at least 10 pounds lighter. I think like this. They're not ready to... Povetkin's dangerous, yes. But they're not ready for, you know, Anthony Joshua to lose right now. Or even have a chance of losing right now. You know, they want to slow shit down. Remember, he fought, Joseph Parker. So I would think he fought... It was Klitschko, Takam, Parker, right? So, to fight Parker, then Deontay Wilder. Nah. I'm telling you guys, Tyson won't fight Wilder unless the payday is lucrative. He sooner sit out until he's ready to fight Joshua. Yeah, true. They called off the 24-hour Mando for Joshua. When is this? Somebody else said that. Let me go. When is this? When was this? This must have happened since I've been on stream. Somebody said that earlier. But that 24-hour shit was bullshit. I never believed it. WBA says, well, you know, you can't fight Wilder because you got to fight Povetkin. And then all of a sudden Eddie Hearn's like, well, oh shit. Oh well. Don't even try to pay no step aside money or nothing. Oh, well, we got to fight Povetkin now. I thought this announcements have been made and Hearn is in New York City right now. Hearn is in New York City right now. Yes. He could be meeting with Keith Thurman. Yes. And he's supposed to be back. Well, there's supposed to be, as I said earlier, a press conference in the middle of July, in a couple of weeks. You think it could be Wilder? You think all of a sudden they're going to pull a power move? You think at the last minute they're going to be like, oh shit, it's signed, you know? After all, we haven't heard anything from Wilder in like a day or two. We haven't heard anything from Shirley Finkel. Shelly Finkel. We haven't heard anything in a couple of days. You think they're going to spring it on us? Povetkin would likely surely be on the undercard, but against who? You think Big Baby Miller is going to go to, well, he already said he's not going to Bulgaria, but you think he's going to fight Kubrat Pulev? Every pro Wilder pundit on YouTube is using it against him. Using what against him? Problem is, AJ went off script and said he would fight for the 50 million. Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, you can't just be saying shit, man. Motherfucking the internet will eat it up. They will fucking be like, oh, well, he said this. They will point that shit out to the direct fucking moment. But I'm going to get up out of here, guys. I already been live for 2 fucking hours and 40 minutes. And I still got to upload the press conference to, my page. And do videos tomorrow. It's the 4th of July. Anyway, question. You know what? I'm gonna answer your motherfucking question, Ronnie. Question: did Canelo cheat? Put it this way. I've said it before in videos in the past. Anybody, any athletes who go, my messages aren't going. I don't know what you're saying. Like I was saying, any fighter who goes to Mexico should automatically know not to eat contaminated meat. You know? Yeah, we're gonna be a lot. I'm trying to figure out what to do. See, here's the thing. I want to do a podcast, but if I do, I'm going to be doing a podcast. But if I do a podcast, I don't want to be. I want to do live streams at a certain times each week, not random times. Only we got some things planned. In the meantime, you're going to be seeing me moving around in the field a lot. Finally driving again after all these goddamn years. So I'm going to be going to the Top Rank card in AC. I'm going to Garcia versus Porter. That's going to be in New York. What else? The press conference to launch the Zone in middle of July in New York. I'll be going to that. We got some events we're going to. It's going to start getting real busy around here. Not this week, the week after, when I'm able to, I've been running around. I couldn't really. I just started like walking and shit, like with no pain, probably not even a month ago, like 3 weeks ago. So I've been doing a lot of running around, getting my life back in order. Also we're going to be covering mixed martial arts. So, we got a lot to do in the next couple of months to catch up what we started with earlier in the year. But, all right. I'll see you guys later. You guys have a good night. TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. My bad. I clicked the wrong button. There we go.